Welcome to the Deep Dive, your shortcut to being truly well-informed. Today, we're plunging into something pretty significant happening right now, the reemergence of the Global South.
Yeah, 'cause it's not just a label anymore, is it? It feels like a real force.
Exactly. It's diverse, ambitious economically, and, well, politically assertive. They're demanding fair representation. And what's fascinating, maybe even surprising, is India's rise as a sort of natural leader within this group.
It is surprising to some, yeah.
So this deep dive, we're exploring how India actually earned this position. How did it become this credible voice for billions across Asia, Africa, Latin America, and what makes its approach to leadership unique?
And we're drawing on some specific material here.
Yes, good point. We're using insights from Chapter 8 of India's Leadership in the Global South, specifically the part titled Leadership in a Multipolar World.
A very relevant chapter.
Totally. Our mission here is to unpack India's journey, from its historical roots, like way back, to its current role as a proactive architect, really, of Global South cooperation. We'll look at its contributions, the challenges, too.
So listeners get the what's and the why.
Precisely. We want you to walk away understanding not just what India's up to, but why its strategy matters for you and the whole global picture.
Okay, let's get into it.
Right. So let's unpack this term first, Global South. What does it really mean today, and how does India fit in? To get it, we kind of have to look back, don't we?
Definitely. History matters here.
India's historical role. During the Cold War, it co-founded the Non-Aligned Movement, NAM. That was huge.
A massive statement at the time. It was about not being dragged into superpower fights.
Right. NAM was all about strategic autonomy, decolonization, and, crucially, development through peace. But the world's different now. It's multipolar. So how has that foundation evolved?
Well, that's the interesting part. That core idea, that legacy of strategic autonomy, of not wanting to be forced into rigid blocks, it's still there. But it's seen through a much more pragmatic lens today.
Pragmatic how?
The sources we looked at really emphasize this shift. India's gone from being maybe a hesitant participant, as one source put it, to a really proactive architect.
Proactive architect. I like that framing.
Yeah, it's not just about sticking to old principles rigidly. It's about reinterpreting them, applying them dynamically to actually shape this new complex world order.
Okay, so where do we see this proactive architecture in practice? The Voice of Global South Summit in 2023 seems like a prime example.
Absolutely. India didn't just show up, it hosted it, pulled together over 120 countries.
And the key thing there wasn't just the number, right? It showed India could be this, trusted, neutral convener.
Exactly. Bridging divides. Focusing on shared economic goals, not just politics.
And they listened, documented grievances. And then this is crucial, they took those voices to bigger stages like the G20.
Which leads us nicely to India's G20 presidency. That was genuinely historic, not just for the deals made, but for who got included.
You mean the African Union?
Precisely. The AU becoming a permanent G20 member. That happened because India really pushed for it persistently.
And that's more than just a nice gesture, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's a structural shift, a fundamental one. It sends a message. You can't talk about global development anymore without including the voices that have been historically, left out.
It changes the whole dynamic of those G20 talks, you'd think. Beyond just the symbolism, it must have taken considerable diplomatic effort to get that through.
No doubt. Significant diplomatic capital, as you say. But it shows that commitment to representation.
Okay, so we have these big platforms, G20, the summit. But India's also championing specific innovative models for global challenges, right?
Yes, moving beyond just the platforms themselves.
Let's talk climate justice.
Yeah.
India's stance is quite bold. They argue, look, responsibility needs sharing, sure, but not equally.
Because the starting points are totally different.
Exactly. Rich nations polluted for centuries. Why should developing nations carry the same weight now? India frames it as essential justice. They back it up, too. Initiatives like IUS, the International Solar Alliance.
And the Lifestyle for Environment campaign. Concrete actions.
Yeah.
And this approach, it really pushes back against those traditional climate burden narratives, doesn't it? The ones that often put unfair pressure on developing countries. It resonates deeply across the Global South.
It's a powerful reframe. But it's not just policy debates. They're doing interesting things in the digital space, too.
Oh, yes, the digital public infrastructure, or DPI, that's a huge one.
Can you give us some examples?
Sure. Think about things like UPI for payments, Unified Payments Interface, Aadhaar, the digital identity system, DigiLocker for secure document storage.
Things that affect billions of people directly.
Right. And what makes this model so attractive to other Global South nations, especially when you contrast it with how Western tech giants often operate?
Good question. What is the difference?
Well, the sources highlight a few things. India's approach tends to come with open source ethics. It's built for grassroots scalability, mass adoption.
Meaning it's not locked down proprietary tech.
Generally, yes. It's designed for inclusion, not just profit. And that fundamentally challenges the dominant Western tech model. It suggests maybe a different digital future for the Global South, one they control more directly.
Fascinating. Okay, let's pivot slightly to diplomacy. India's approach is complex, nuanced,
Very nuanced. The term the sources use is multi-aligned.
multi-aligned, so not non-aligned anymore.
It's evolution. Think about it. They keep strategic ties with Russia while also actively courting the West.
We see that, and they step in regionally too, right? Helping Sri Lanka during its economic crisis.
Yes, assisting Afghanistan after the Taliban takeover, sending vaccines across Africa during COVID.
And maintaining this steady, long-term friendship with Palestine while also engaging pretty deeply with Israel. It's a real balancing act.
It absolutely is.
So how is this multi-alignment different from just being, opportunistic, playing all sides? And why does this specific approach build credibility in the Global South?
That's the core question. Multi-aligned signals flexibility, maturity. It's explicitly interest-based diplomacy, but crucially, it's not seen as exploitative.
Okay.
And that builds credibility because it shows India acts on its own principles and needs, not just because of pressure from big power blocks. It can be a bridge, you see, not just a piece on someone else's chessboard.
That makes sense. Being a bridge builder. But look, no approach is perfect. There must be criticisms, challenges.
Of course, and the sources do acknowledge them. Some critics argue India can be too inward-looking sometimes, maybe too slow on trade reforms.
And maybe too cautious in security partnerships. I've heard that too.
Yes. And the idea that maybe India is, as you mentioned earlier, punching above its weight, trying to do too much.
Is that a fair concern? Or is something else going on?
Well, it's a valid point to raise, but here's a crucial piece of context. The Global South isn't necessarily searching for a perfect, flawless leader in the mold of, say, a traditional superpower.
What are they looking for then?
Perhaps a relatable leader. And India, with its own post-colonial history, its massive development journey still ongoing, its complex internal issues. It fits that role.
Because other nations see their own struggles reflected.
Exactly. Its experiences resonate. Its leadership feels more authentic, maybe even achievable compared to older powers.
So tying this all together, what's the big takeaway? India's rise in the Global South.
Yeah.
It's really about credibility, isn't it? Not just raw power projection.
That's absolutely the core of it. It's a compelling story. In a world that's, frankly, a bit tired of top-down, we know best development models.
Yeah.
India offers something different. The sources put it very clearly. It's an approach that's bottom-up, collaborative, and respectful.
Bottom-up, collaborative, respectful. Okay.
So, if we boil down the key insights from our sources, first, India's leadership today. It's got roots in historical solidarity, sure, but it's been clearly redefined for this multipolar era.
Right, updated.
Second, through things like the Voice of Global South Summit, India gave a crucial, trusted platform to nations often overlooked.
Amplifying voices.
Third, its practical models, climate justice, digital infrastructure, that multi-aligned diplomacy, they offer scalable, ethical alternatives that challenge the status quo.
Real, tangible alternatives.
And finally, and this is key, India's strength isn't about dominating. It's about representation. It's about building bridges.
So this deep dive really underscored India's unique spot, leading the Global South. It builds on history, but it's proactive now, forging connections, offering these innovative solutions for climate, digital inclusion, all through that careful, multi-aligned diplomacy.
A complex but coherent picture.
Definitely. Now for a final thought, something for you, our listener, to think about. What could India's bottom-up, collaborative, and respectful leadership style actually mean for the future? For international relations, the global power balance.
How might it change how countries tackle shared problems together?
Exactly. And what does it mean for how we even define global leadership going forward? We encourage you to really consider what these insights mean for your own understanding of global dynamics and how international cooperation itself is evolving.